I'm privileged to have on the phone with me this morning on our broadcast the one and only Melissa Atwell, better known, popularly known as Melly Mel. Good morning, ma'am. Welcome to our broadcast. Well, you've had your hands full. You've had your hands full over the last few hours. Melly Mel, you've been talking the things because you know what you're talking about. You have the information out there. The government is vexed. Jagdio, Irfan, the whole pack of them, vexed and upset. The police force, they're angry at you, and that is part of what we saw play out here yesterday. Help us to understand what transpired.
They showed up. They said they with a piece of paper in their hand. They said they come to search for guns, ammunition, narcotics, the whole thing. So my mom was like, "Okay, go ahead and search." But remember, it's two old people. My grandmother is very, very sick right now. So it wasn't. My mother said she wasn't. She didn't know what to do because they just showed up. A set of them to search. So she was like, "Okay, fine. Go ahead and search." Because she knows that she don't have anything illegal or stuff like that. They asked her if she have any money. So she was like we don't really keep cash at the house. She showed them the amount of money.
Melly, I'm certain since she see this whole entourage by the gate, they must be wondering like they get the wrong address because
I don't exactly because she was like she didn't understand what going on, so she just opened the door. She said she didn't even really had on any clothes. She was like, what's up? She thought probably to get a wrong address or they're looking for somebody that is nothing. So she come out to answer But apparently they claim to get now, Sharon, you go to do a search on a house, right? For narcotics and ammunition and guns, right? I would think that the police would be intelligent enough and they would have done these raids before if they're searching for narcotics. You search the 3 bedrooms, you tumble up, you pull out drawer, you open suitcase, you do whatever. You went to the veranda area. That's where I normally keep the hampers and stuff that I would pack for people and the stuff that I would have to give away, clothes and all these things. They go to the veranda area. They search, they open the suitcase. Mind you, they didn't search the living room. They didn't search the kitchen. Then open the cupboards in the kitchen. Then check, under the sink. They didn't check in the oven. Then check in the freezer. Then check behind the fridge. Nothing. They didn't search the kitchen. They didn't search the living room. Their focus was more on the 3 bedrooms and on the veranda outside. They searched. At one point, my mom said when the police was searching, she could hear the police, one of them sucking the teeth saying, "This is beer skunt." Wow. Sorry for cursing on your program, right? I don't want to say which one of the police because I don't want to put them in problem because I know some of them, they really didn't want to be there. They were just there because of circumstances. Anyway, they searched. They didn't search the living room. They didn't search the kitchen. Now you come to do a search for narcotics, ammunition, guns, whatever it is. You don't give the house a thorough search. You're gonna check in the roof. You're gonna check in the roof. You're gonna check. You're gonna lift up the chair to see if you get any stash in the chair. You're gonna check in the freezer. Nothing. So you come out the house. You go downstairs in the yard. You search in the yard. You don't find nothing. But then 2 police jump over in a alleyway. This is the alleyway behind the houses them in Eccles. There's one alleyway with like a gutter and there's a lot of sometimes trees growing to the back there and stuff. So they jump behind there, claim they find I don't know whatever. I don't even know it's 27 gram of weed, whatever 27 how much gram of weed in a Ziploc bag. Mind you, my nephew would have come from the business at that point after his grandmother called him and tell him that the police are there. So he came in to check on them because it's just the 2 of them living there. And he said, well, when he came, they were searching. They were at the back in the alleyway or something searching. Didn't see them leave with anything. The neighbor who was watching them as well didn't see them leave with anything. They jumped in the van and they left. So I was like, okay, so they come. So while talking to my mother, talking to the neighbors and stuff, I'm saying, okay, they come, they search, they didn't find anything. What was the purpose? So she don't know. They said, go and somebody told them that, well, apparently it gotta be me. I sending in foreign weed in barrel and boxes and suitcases, however I sending in this, however I allegedly sending in this weed to my mother house or to my mom, to my grandmother, whichever. And so they come for search. So I was surprised after it blew up on social media, they come and say, oh, they find 27 grand of weed. Nobody, you see, y'all left with nothing. If y'all find the weed, it's not They'll find it at the house or in the yard or anything, but still you wouldn't say, oh, well, we inform anybody, well, we find this, we got this, nothing. Y'all didn't say anything. Y'all jump in a van and leave, didn't talk to nobody. The neighbors didn't see y'all left with nothing. Nobody see y'all left with that, but suddenly y'all struck with 27 grams of weed when it hits social media.
Wow, interesting. Very interesting. You know, I was made
Then,
yeah.
Then, because I'm seeing the conversation in the police group, by the way, by source, which is not police in the group, they're saying, oh, her mom saw we coming and our grandmother or mother wanted them throw the weed through the window to the alleyway. Sherrod, we have a very big backyard. Very big backyard. The distance from the bedroom window and the kitchen window to this alleyway is like I can't even I can't tell you how far it is. The banana tree that they claim to find in this alleyway is all the way just behind, in the opposite direction in the next. The window got grills and mosquito mesh. How are they throwing weed from the window all the way to another alley and in a banana tree? Make it make sense.
Stranger than fiction. The thing just makes no sense. And I'm being made to understand too that somehow the Guyana police force is trying to draw your young son into all of this. I saw some of that reported on social media as well.
My son. It's my son. The aim was to make it look as though my son does drugs and then to lock him up. But clearly they don't do proper intelligent work, because if they did, then they would know that the only two persons living at that property is my mom and my grandmother. My son don't live there. Her grandchildren visit her on the weekends. The only other person that visits there is the nurse, goes there 4 times a week.
Such poor policing by the Guyana police force that, you know, I'm certain could be spending these resources elsewhere, because a mutual friend of ours, we were talking last evening and we said, you know, you call for police van now because a real crime occurring at your residence or something like that. You can't get one police to come. We could get all these policemen being used by the state to repress, to intimidate, to victimize, and marginalize people. What do you think? And I know you offered some thoughts when we were starting this discussion, but what do you think is at the heart of this kind of harassment?
Of course, it's victimization. They were sent by somebody. Nobody in the police force know about this sort, except for Mahendra Singh. Mahendra Singh is one of those the police officers that currently have 3 rape matters that the covering down for he, the hiding for he, that he really would have sexually assaulted 3 police officers. I literally, and I'm currently right now getting up a lawyer for one of those police officers because she was given no justice. 3, I currently have sexual assault, apart like he sexually assault. He usually sexually assault the female police officers in the Guyana police force, and they cover it down. They don't ever do him anything. May interesting, and I would have made this public a couple of months ago. Now, Budram is another one that I'm preparing a file on. And I don't want to say anything. Next thing you know, for Budram come and sue you again for something that I say, like as in the case of Indar. But Budram is somewhere that I'm preparing a file on right now. I won't want to say what it is, but it's gonna come out soon. So those are the only 2 persons that know about the search.
Wow. Interesting times. Interesting times. And this is a government. This is a government that says, I'm trying to fight off this label of being an autocratic government, but clearly using the state to repress people. We saw Rickford Burke's organization, the Alliance for Change, we saw PNCR, all come to a defense and stating that this is repression, plain and simple, not wanting the kind of truth that you speak to power in this country to continue, especially when you're heading into an election season. Clearly, Melissa.
Clearly. I just want them to know that the world is watching, and the story that they're trying to navigate or they're trying to push, then the story changed. Or my sister recently had some kind of run with the law. My sister haven't lived again in almost 4 years and is currently a serving member of the U.S. Army.
My Lord. So it's your son, then it's your sister, is your grandmother, is your mother. This is madness. This is madness. This is madness. You know, it would be so laughable, even except it involves innocent lives, like your son, like your parent, like your grandmother, who, and get no part in the political work, the human rights work that you do, the advocacy work that you do, but they're drawn into all of this because you got people who got a little bit of power, who can lose it very soon, who are doing all this foolishness. It's very sad. I mean, how are you all holding up as a family? Not to get into all your private and personal details. How is your mother and your grandmother doing since or you?
Well, unfortunately, my grandmother had a doctor's appointment today. My grandma, like I said, my grandma is very, very sick. She hasn't eaten any solid food for the last 3 weeks. So even if she was going to throw the wheat, she really had the strength to throw it. Anyways, let me come off of though. Um, so but my mother, my grandma, they were very traumatized, very, very traumatized. But we're holding up.
Melly Mel, thanks on such short notice. Thanks on such very short notice for coming by and giving us an update on this matter and how things are going. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, there, Sherrod.
Have a great day. Folks, there it
You
is.
too,
There
Sherrod.
it is. I wanted you to hear from Melly Mel herself some of what's happening behind the scenes, some of what she knew transpired yesterday.